Beatrice warns Denny and tells him that she knows he is not Jake. When Fred arrived home, Denny told him that Beatrice was mean and tried to hit him. Fred believed Denny and kicked Beatrice out of the house. Later that night, Denny snuck downstairs and called his real home. Sammy answered the phone and handed it to Jake. Denny told Jake that he was tired of pretending to be him and that they needed to switch back. Jake, however, liked being at the Murphys and didn't want to give up Quinn as his mom. The next day, Quinn was at home alone when she received a phone call from a child claiming to be Denny. The child said that his father had collapsed and wouldn't wake up. Who is the child on the phone? Is it really Denny? What really happened to Fred? Will Quinn go to help Denny's father?
He won't wake up.
All right, sweetie. You need to call 911.
He requested your help.
My help?
You're Dr. Quinn, right?
I am.
Please.
The child's voice tugged at Quinn's heart. She couldn't say no, even with her suspension. She's made an oath as a doctor, and she stuck by it. She always helped those in need. Tell me your address. I'm on the way. Quinn slammed the receiver down and grabbed her medical bag. She rushed out of the house and hailed a taxi to head to the address. Once she was there, Quinn rang the doorbell to the giant mansion repeatedly. There was no time to waste, but no one seemed to be rushing to answer. The house was massive. It looked like a luxury Italian villa right on the edge of Central Park. She could see the kids' school from here. Well, at least she would be nearby for pickup later on. She checked her watch, and the school day was almost over. She hoped that this home call wouldn't take long. She beat on the door until a butler in full uniform answered. "May I help you?" the butler inquired in a clipped tone. "I received an urgent call from here. Someone needs medical assistance?" Quinn held up her doctor's bag and stethoscope. "No one is ill here, ma'am." "Well, I'd like to speak to the owner of the house then, to see that he's okay," Quinn insisted. "He's on an important call, miss. I can assure you that he is fine." Quinn pushed her way inside. The butler followed behind her. "Miss, I am going to have to call the police." "Do what you have to. I'm not letting someone die." She entered the massive living room area, and suddenly, Denny rushed out of the kitchen and into Quinn's arms. Quinn couldn't believe it. Jake Smith had called her. She looked up at the tall ceilings and luxurious interiors. Quinn knew that Fred Smith would not be happy that she was there, even if she was saving his life. Hey, Jake, are you okay? Is your dad okay?" Denny's shoulders fell. He couldn't believe it. What was happening? Just because he was in a fancy getup and a different house, his own mother didn't recognize him? "Jake, are you all right?" Quinn asked again. She took a step back to look the boy over. Quinn thought he seemed okay, physically at least. Denny didn't know what to say. He just wanted his mom to take him away from here. "Mom," Denny whispered. "What did you say, Jake?" Quinn asked. Denny opened his mouth to speak, but Fred's booming voice interrupted them. "Are you out of your mind, doctor? I told you to stay away from my son." Fred rushed forward and stood behind Denny. Quinn rolled her eyes. "I'm here because your son called me asking for help," Quinn barked. "My son is fine. I don't understand your weird obsession with him. But you need to leave, now, before I call the police on you." Quinn bit her tongue. She didn't want to yell at this stupid man in front of his own child. She was a professional. She could do this. "Your son called me because he was worried about you, not himself." Fred paused at this. His expression softened a bit. He looked down at Denny. "Son, I'm fine. Why would you call Dr. Quinn over for me?" Denny looked between the two of them, and then he took off as fast as his legs would carry him. He pushed past the butler and into Central Park. He wouldn't stay in that house any longer, waiting for that mean lady Beatrice to come back. He wouldn't. Denny could hardly breathe. He was running as fast as he could. He could hear his mom and Fred running after him and yelling, but he had a head start. He looked around the park for somewhere to hide, but there were people everywhere. Then he spotted his saving grace, the school that had just let out for the day. He ran straight into the group of kids that were exiting the building. He weaved in and out of the crowd, looking for a way inside, when he ran straight into his sister Sammy. Jake stood beside her. "Denny?" Sammy asked, but Denny was so mad at Jake that he ignored her. "Hey!" Denny pushed Jake. Jake turned around, and when he saw it was Denny, pushed him right back. The boys fell onto the ground in a scuffle. "Hey, leave me alone! I'm not going back! I'm not! I hate my mom!" Jake muttered close to Denny as he pinned him down to the ground. "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" Sammy yelled at the top of her lungs, pulling at Jake to stop. The boys eventually stopped and looked up at Sammy, who was about to cry. "No fighting! No more fighting!" she yelled again. And so Denny stood up. He embraced his sister. "I'm sorry, Sammy. I didn't mean to scare you." "Me neither," Jake mumbled. They all hugged, but then Sammy pulled back and punched them both in the arm at once. "Ow!" Denny and Jake yelled at the same time. Sammy pointed to Jake. "I knew you weren't Denny." Then she turned to her brother Denny. "I can't believe you left me with some random boy." "It wasn't on purpose. We got switched by accident," Denny piped up defensively. Jake nodded along beside him. "We did, and then we just kind of stayed that way." "Whatever. I don't care. I'm telling Mom," Sammy concluded firmly. "Come on, please don't," Jake begged. "Why not? Let's get this over with. I want to come home." "Your mom is mean," Denny stated bluntly. "Yeah, but my dad isn't mean, is he?" Jake probed. Denny nodded. He had to admit that Fred was really nice. "Don't you like having a dad, then?" Jake reasoned. "Probably as much as you like having my mom. But I still want to go home now," Denny admitted with a bittersweet sigh. "Yeah, what do we do, though?" Jake shrugged. Sammy rolled her eyes and threw her hands up in the air. "We make them both meet. Your dad and our mom, Quinn, and they fall in love. Duh." The boys stared at each other, and then at Sammy as they absorbed the idea. "If they get married, then we can all be together forever," Sammy explained. "Boys are so dumb. It's so simple." Denny held out a fist. "Operation Marry Our Parents?" Jake fist bumped Denny. Sammy fist bumped them both. "Marry our parents," Jake agreed. "But we can't switch back now. If they see us together now, we're toast. Then they will make it about us and never end up together. We have to get them together first, while we're still in control. Just a few more days?" Denny relented. "Fine." Just then, they all turned around when, "Jake? Jake? Where are you, Jake?" Fred's worried voice entered the courtyard. "Oh no," Jake cried. "Denny, you need to get out of this place and fast, or else he's gonna see us." And with that, Denny took off, Fred hot on his coattails.
Denny darted through the crowd, his heart pounding. He had to get away, had to keep this charade going a little longer. But how long could he keep up the act? Would Fred recognize him? And what about Quinn? Would she ever forgive him for the deception? More importantly, would she ever even consider Fred, the man who had caused her so much pain?
Hey, I'm Jenny. If you're wondering what happens next, download the Pocket FM app now and listen to the exciting episodes of A Mother's Battle.